good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It is Monday. It is January 29th. It's almost the end of the month. It is here. Boy, did January go fast. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get to my in-studio guests. I'm so excited. Okay, so Friday night, I actually filmed in City Island in the Bronx. I got a pic we could put up. There I am. Okay, so I play a woman named Stormy, who is an ex-prostitute who owns a legit business, and I can't say anymore, but it's based on a true story, and hoping to have the writer, producer, director on my show next month in February. So that was fun. And I wanted to also say that Me and My Nuts, there we are, Me and My Nuts is going to be on February 24th, at the Cinema on the Sound, which is in City Island in the Bronx. So I'm going to put all the information up on Facebook and have it out there. So if you're not doing anything on February 24th, it's at 7 o'clock, and it's a pilot. It's a comedy. I play the secretary, and it's very, very funny. And then It's Love Bro is going to be back at the Sayville Theater the day before Valentine's on the 13th and the day after Valentine's on the 15th. So if you didn't see it last time it was there, please come down. It's a romantic comedy, makes a great Valentine's gift, you know, dinner and a show. Why not? So that's great. Also, Al Sapienza is playing. There he is. He was my guest last week, and he's playing at the Cutting Room on February 10th. I got my ticket. Did you get yours? If you didn't, just go to thecuttingroom.com for tickets. Very excited about that. And want to wish Oprah Winfrey today a happy and a healthy 70th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 70. She looked good. She looked good. All right, so I'm going to get to my guests because I'm excited that she's here. She's an actor, she's a writer, she's a producer, and she's my friend, Claudia Bonavita.
How you doing?
How are you? Hey, listen, I heard you saw It's Love Bro.
I did. It was such a fun night. We laughed. It was a nice movie. We had a great time. And, of course, Theresa is fantastic in it. We're like, I know her. I know her.
Thank you. Yes, unfortunately, I couldn't make it that night. I was doing Murdered by the Mob in the city at the Iron Bar in the secret room. And as a matter of fact, no pics, Carmine, but we're going to be back there this Saturday. The 2nd, and the 3rd, I'm sorry, February 3rd, and we're going to be back there again on the 17th. So if you want to come see me in a murder mystery, it's like going to an Italian wedding. Someone gets whacked. You got to figure it out. Just go to murderedbythemob.com and see where we're going to be. So I'm glad that you and your wonderful husband went to go see.
But we also brought a friend.
Oh, you did?
So, oh, yes.
Oh, nice.
We
that's
brought
so nice.
people.
Oh, I appreciate that. I know my cousin Gary was there with his wife Randy, and he said, I missed you on the red carpet. I'm like, I'm so sorry because I was asked to work and I had to go into the city. But I'm hoping to be there on the 13th and the 15th. And I'm glad you guys went and had a good time.
It was a great time.
Yeah,
Had a
Frank
nice
Fiella
evening.
plays my husband.
Yes.
And
yes.
We've done that more than once. And we've got good chemistry.
You do. It was great.
Yeah.
It
And
really
it's
was
funny
great
because my
chemistry.
cousin Gary texts me and he goes, oh my God, you so played Aunt Jean, who's my mother.
Oh my God.
He's like, you were like Aunt Jean the whole time. I'm like, well, I am my mother's daughter, so.
You were a typical Italian mother and hovering.
Yeah,
You know.
it wasn't a stretch for me.
No, it was
You know
good.
what I mean? But I'm glad you enjoyed it. But again, I want everyone to get to know Claudia. She's a very talented woman. Born and raised in one place, and you're still there.
Still in the same town. I was born and raised in West Babylon. Got married, we moved to North Babylon, then we moved to West Babylon, now we're back in North Babylon. So same town. Literally like 2 miles from where I grew up.
Right.
We could walk to every house we've ever lived at.
That's wild. And you obviously went to high school there. You studied at Penn State College of New Rochelle?
Well, yeah, so I did a lot. I'm a wackadoo. But I actually went to Fredonia School of Music.
Yes.
So I went for a year and a half as a cello player,
Yes,
a
because
music therapy
you
major.
play the cello.
I do.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay.
Because tell me how you took up the cello, because this is like a big instrument.
It's
not,
huge.
It's not like a little flute or anything.
No.
It's not even a violin. It's a monster of an
It is a
instrument.
monster, and I was not a big kid. I'm only 5'1" now. So
Yeah, I know. You and I are vertically challenged.
Yes, I was definitely vertically
Yeah,
challenged as a kid. So what happened was there was a girl who was really, really smart, and in 3rd grade she was allowed to pick an instrument before everyone else in 4th.
Right.
And she picked the cello.
Okay.
And I noticed she got to leave school early, and then she got to pick the best seat on the bus because she was the first one on the bus.
Okay.
She put the cello in the front, and she could sit anywhere. And I said, oh, when it's time for me to play an instrument, that's the one I want because I get to leave school early, and I picked the first seat on the bus.
Wow.
So that's what I chose, and I still play the cello.
Yes, you do. You actually you play at events. I saw a couple
I do.
of videos.
I played at a wedding on Labor Day weekend, but we
Nice.
learned a really tough lesson.
What?
Because first of all, we played on a beach, and it was like 100 degrees, so we were dying.
Oh my gosh.
And not only that, but we used white paper, like the paper you have in your hand.
Right.
And the sun hits the white paper.
Yeah.
We couldn't see the notes.
Oh, the glare.
So we were just sitting there going, oh my God, I can't see the music. The glare was so awful. So we ran over to where there was like a bar with umbrellas.
Right.
And we stole the umbrellas. And then they came to take the umbrellas, and we were like, you can't have the umbrellas.
Oh,
we can't,
no.
we literally can't see the music.
Yeah. Oh no, that's
And
not
we were
good.
playing like 6 pieces.
So they
like
didn't have you under any kind of tent or any kind of
No.
nothing.
We would just,
You would just
out in the elements.
Wow.
So, but it was great. It was a beautiful wedding. It was a gorgeous day.
Oh, that's nice.
And, you know, it was wonderful. But, yeah.
Was this a piece that you already knew, or you had to learn?
Well, all right, so one I know. So the canon. It's what everybody plays at everybody, canon in D, for every wedding. For a cellist, it's a nightmare. For a cellist with ADHD, it's worse than a nightmare. I play 8 notes rather,
8
for the
notes.
entire
Yeah.
piece. 8
Really?
notes.
Okay.
And that's it for the entire piece.
Wow.
And I just play those 8 notes. So I'm making shopping lists. I'm thinking of, you know, what am I doing? Are we taking the ferry home? Did I make reservations? I think I made reservations for the ferry.
Ah, that's
What am I
funny.
going to eat for dinner? Oh, I wonder if they're going to have chicken and fish. And this is what's going through my head
Oh my God.
while I'm playing those 8 stupid notes.
Wow.
So that's a torturous piece for a cellist.
Yeah. No, I get it. But I also saw some videos where you, during the holiday,
Yes.
you'll play a beautiful.
I do. I play for
Christmas song
Christmas, or
and-
I play New Year's. I mean, this year we had the flu at Christmas, my
Right.
family,
Yes,
so
yeah.
I didn't play much,
Right,
which I
right,
should
right.
have, but
Yeah.
I didn't. But yes, so
So
I
you
actually
were-
had a girlfriend who would buy a car so that it would fit my cellos, because she was a violinist and we would play different gigs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a little nutty, I think. But she would be
Well,
like, oh,
it
no,
is,
I
but-
can't buy that tiny car. Claudia's cello won't fit. My friend Joanne Garcia, she would literally buy a car that my cello could fit in.
Yeah, because it's a monster of an
huge.
instrument. It's
Yeah,
like
it is. I mean, it's not a bass. String bass is
no, I
worse.
mean, but like the next biggest thing I could think of is like a harp. I mean, it's
Right.
I
A
mean,
harp would be worse than a string bass.
Yeah. But still, and so you were in orchestra, correct?
I
You were
was in orchestra,
always in
yes.
orchestra,
Yep.
always playing.
And I played for like the Long Island Music Festival and SCMEA, which is Suffolk County Music Educators Association. I was first chair in all of Long Island
That's
one year
cool.
as a kid.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful
So-
to play an instrument. You know, I think it's really really nice.
Yeah.
You know, just anything.
Right.
You know, it's just,
I own a banjo, but I don't really play well. But I own a banjo. I play guitar. I play ukulele for my nieces.
Well, I heard ukulele's easier because it's only what 4 strings instead
It
of
is,
5,
it's 4,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Because Jessica, our friend Jessica, plays the ukulele on
Yes.
stage when she does comedy, and she's like, "Oh, it's not that hard." I'm like, "Cause you know how to play it."
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
That's cool. So, do you get hired for a lot of private gigs, or you just?
No, I just do things for people I know.
All right. Okay. That's good to know.
Yes.
It is. It's so good to.
You need a
It's really
cellist.
good to know. So then, okay. So then, did you want to be a professional cellist when you grew up?
No,
Like,
I was
what did
going
you
for
wanna do
music
with it?
therapy, but
Music therapy.
it wasn't my thing because what happened was I went to a special ed school to do music therapy with little kids with different disabilities, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And then I found out as a music therapist, you only see them once a week, and I'm like, no, I want to go every day,
Oh.
and I want to work with kids with
Yeah, yeah,
disabilities.
yeah.
So Fredonia was only one of like 2 or 3 schools in
Right.
all of New York State that
Yeah.
had music therapy back in 19. And so I had to go to Fredonia. But then I came home because I said, if I'm going for special ed, I'm going to come home. I was with my husband at the time. We've been together since I was 17.
Wait, we
41
have a,
years.
Wait, we have a picture. We have a picture.
You have a picture?
We do.
That's my prom.
That is you and the prom. And
So
you're-
wait, there's
Oh
story
wait, leave that
because
there. Oh,
I
that
was
is
17.
priceless.
I was
Priceless.
17. He was 24.
All right, wait what?
Yes, I was 17. He was
Wait,
24.
wow.
He was the only person who could probably drink at my prom. You know, he was 24.
Oh my God! Thank you for that picture. Now,
7 year.
Now, please explain to me how you met a 24-year-old being so young. How did
Yes.
that? How did
okay.
that happen?
So through my mother.
What?
As crazy as that
Through
sounds.
your mom?
Yes. So I do theater, and I did theater as a young person, and my husband did theater with my mother. So
Okay.
they had leads together. They
Yes.
did shows together.
Actually,
they had
we
leads.
have a picture of your mom doing theater.
Yes. Oh my God. There
Now-
she is
now-
in my living room. I have a picture of my mother in that nun costume, and she's going, shaking her fist.
Yeah.
And I have that in my living room. So that's the rink. She's in the rink up above.
Yeah.
And then below she's in nonsense.
Nonsense.
So I
Thank
did
you for
theater,
that.
and I did
So
it-
wait, so he was doing theater with your mom?
my mother. So he knew my mother first.
He knew your mom first.
So we were doing a show outdoors at Phelps Lane Theater. It's an outdoor park in North Babylon. And my mother was dropping me off at 7:30 at night.
Right.
And she saw my husband, and he came over, John, came over to the car.
Yes.
And said, Dottie, what are you doing here? And they're kissing through the window. And she said, I'm dropping off my daughter. She's in this show. And he said, oh, don't come to the park at night. You're not going to come back and pick her up at 10 o'clock. I'll drive her home. Where do you live? So my mother said, on Belmont Avenue. And he goes, I live off Belmont Avenue. I'll drive her home.
Wow.
And so for 6 weeks, we
So
drove back
obviously,
and
because
forth.
she knew him, she trusted
Trusted
him enough to.
I was also the youngest of 4.
Okay.
And my mother
So
used
by
to say,
then-
if I was the first, I would have been the last. So I was
Right.
enough trouble that
That's
she was just
funny.
like, oh my God,
Yeah,
please
yeah,
let
by the
somebody
4th
kidnap
kid.
her. Please, take her.
So he drove you home and never
So
left.
he drove me home. And the funny thing is, toward the end of August, he's driving in the car. He's got his arm around me, and he goes, when do you go back to school?
Or is he doing the cuisine
So,
lean?
oh yeah, the cuisine lean,
Yeah.
when do you go back to school?
We remember that.
So I said, I go back to school in September. And he said, September, isn't that late? And I said, no. And he goes, where do you go to school? I said, West Babylon. He goes, there's no college in West Babylon. How old are you? And I said, I'm 17. And he was like, and pulled the car over
Oh
the side of the
my
road. And he was
God.
like, wait. So we were on again, off again, on again, off again, while he went through this mental breakdown for like 4 months until
Yeah.
he finally said, okay.
Well, I mean, but how did your mom feel you
So,
dating him
all right, so
that
the first
young.
time I
mean,
asked-
yeah, she loved him, but
She did.
Yeah, it's a different kind of.
It is different.
Situation.
I said to her one night, do you mind, can I go out to dinner and a movie with John Bonavita? And her response was, what does he want with a little shit like you? Excuse my language, you have to beat me.
It's okay.
Sorry. But that's what she said. I'm sorry, I'm going to get in trouble.
It's all
But
right.
I said, we were going to go to a movie. And
Right.
then the rest is history.
The rest is history.
41 years later, we're still together.
Wow, 41 fabulous years.
Yes. Married 35.
That's lovely. I mean, we all know marriage is like a roller coaster. It has its
is.
ups and downs, and the thing is try not to get off the ride. But your mother must have been so thrilled because she loved him before. You guys-
True. The funny thing is, he called her Dottie and called my father Mr. Gilman. Because he didn't really know my father,
Right,
and my
right,
father was
right.
kind of intimidating to him.
Well,
he was just like,
sure.
Dottie and Mr. Gilman.
Yeah, I mean, your mom knew him, which was one
Yes.
thing, but your dad really.
I mean, in
didn't.
time, it was mom and dad.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was
yeah.
good. But
That's sweet. I love that.
took time.
I love that story, and I'm glad I found that pic of you at your
Thank you.
prom because I was like, how cool is this? I mean, really.
there's a prom story. He
Yes?
wasn't going to my prom at 24. He was like, I'm not taking you to the prom.
Well, he felt like.
So
out
I
of-
said, no
he
problem,
felt
but I'm
like-
going.
Did he feel like he was just going to be out of place?
Yeah, he was
or-
like, I'm too old. I said, no problem, but I'm going.
Well,
so a friend
why
of
wouldn't
mine,
you?
right, who graduated, who was a boxer in Atlantic City, this guy said, I'll take you, this guy, Billy. So I said,
Okay.
okay. So he happened to be at a school event, and I said, oh, let me introduce you to Billy. And he went, hi. And he turned the corner and said, I'm taking you to your prom. I said, okay.
Really? Oh, that's all it took.
So that worked.
That's pretty cool. Hey, listen, we're going to take my first break, but before we do, I just want to thank everyone for watching, tuning in. We've got Michael Norton's watching from Florida. I love you, my friend, and Valentina and Elizabeth and everyone else who's watching. Thank you so much. I don't see all the names, so I apologize if I don't get to everybody, but I just want to thank you so much for watching Tea Time. But we're going to take my first break, and we have so much more to talk about with Claudia Bonavita, including what her last name means. Don't go away.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
All right. Is everybody having a good time tonight or what? That's what I thought.
I don't wanna come back down from this town, this town, this town, this town, this town, this town.
Well, hi there, Theresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Theresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Shout out to Charlie Myers watching the show, and Bruno and Ann Rothby. Thank you everyone for watching the show. I really, I feel the love, I feel the support. I love it, and I appreciate you guys tuning in every Monday night. We're here 8 o'clock live on Facebook and YouTube, and then the show goes to Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, everywhere podcasts can be heard and seen every Saturday at 10 a.m. on 10 a.m. on Channel 20 for people who live on Long Island and get Optimum TV. I'm with actor, writer, producer, musician. Let's not leave that out. Claudia Bonavita is here. Bonavita. John Bonavita. What does Bonavita mean, and how do you incorporate that into your life other than it being your last name?
So Bonavita in Italian means good life.
Yeah.
And so I'm married 35 years.
Yeah.
I keep asking my husband when the good life's going to start. So I incorporate it into comedy. I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yes, and how did you get into stand-up, my friend?
So-
Because that's how we met.
Yes, that's how we met.
Yeah.
So I did I went to a fundraiser. I attended a fundraiser at one of the governor's, places,
Yeah.
and there was a flyer on the table to take stand-up comedy classes. So I was about a year out of retirement. I was going to retire in a year.
Right.
And I took the flyer and I said to my husband, when I retire, I'm taking these stand-up classes and I'm going to do stand-up comedy. Well, unbeknownst to me, he took the flyer, and that Christmas, he got it for me for Christmas.
Oh,
The
cool.
classes.
He signed
So
you up.
Yeah, so I took Stand Up You with Rich Walker and Peter Bales.
Right.
And I
And
learned so much.
That's at the brokerage.
Yes.
And
And I
stand-up-
left there with a gig.
Stand-up University,
Yep.
and you wrote about 10 minutes of material, but
Yes.
you only had to write 5, but you wrote 10. You had 10 in your
Because
pocket.
I'm a teacher. And
Right.
I-
You
I'm
had a lot to pull from.
I'm a special ed teacher, and not even that, but I'm like a lifelong, student. I'm also a professor, and I take everything very seriously. And I
Sure.
sit down and it's like school.
Right.
So I was really, whatever they told me to do, I did exactly that.
Yeah. You're a
And-
good student.
Well, yeah, and if you go to their class and you listen to them and you do exactly what they say,
Yeah.
you will get so much material, and they are a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
Peter Bales,
Yes.
Rich Walker.
Yes. They
I
have
love to you guys.
Major experience between
And you
them all.
learn so much. And I was recently in Newsday for a bucket list article.
Okay.
Because they featured Stand Up You and discussed people who have a bucket list. And,
Right.
Yeah.
I have one too. I
Yeah.
think everyone has one. I have one. Yeah. So you're doing stand-up how many years now? Is it
5 years,
five?
February 12th.
Yeah.
February 12th will be
Wow.
5 years. That's
That-
when the graduation for the comedy class was. And
I think we have a pic of you on stage. There
that,
you
that
are.
was the comedy class.
Yeah,
yes.
that was it. That was the night that you had to
Yes.
perform after you graduated.
And it was a snowstorm.
Was it?
Yes, it was. But all my friends came out
Yeah.
to support me, so that was nice.
That's nice. So you talk about, I'm sure, marriage and children and a plethora of
You got it. So I
subjects.
do some observational things,
Yeah.
but the meat and potatoes of my act is my husband. He gives me tons. I mean, I will literally be on Sunrise Highway and he'll say something absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
And I'm like, "Ah!" I pull over to the side of the road
got
and
it.
I'm typing in Notepad and he's like, you're really not going to do it. I'm like, oh, I am so doing
Yeah.
that.
Oh, my
you know.
my daughter and my mom and family members give me material all the
Definitely.
time, and I'm like, did you really just say that? And I write it down.
Right,
And
exactly.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try it. If
And
it
then
works,
I
it
have
works.
a friend, Debbie. This is crazy. Debbie lives in Dallas. I know, worst name to have if you live in Dallas, but she will call me and tell me things that her husband Karash has said or done, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta write this down.
Right.
And recently, she told me something absolutely ridiculous. And Friday night, I did it on stage. And afterwards, 2 comedians came up to me and said, that's a great premise. Where did you think of that?
That's great.
I didn't think of anything. Half of
Yeah.
it comes from my husband, my friend's
Just
husbands.
everyday life.
Everyday
By the way,
life.
Rich Walker's watching.
Hey, Rich.
And he says, wow, 5 years. See how fast it goes, Rich?
Yes.
It goes fast, let me tell you. But so you get into stand-up, and do you have any upcoming gigs coming up at all that you want to plug? Or?
I just performed Friday night. I don't know what's coming up because I have
Okay.
something else going on, and
Well,
we'll talk
yeah,
about that
we're
later.
definitely we're definitely going to
So
talk
I
about
can't,
that.
you know,
But
there's too many
you dabbled
things.
in acting, which I found
Yes.
fascinating. You were an extra recently back in March on Blue Bloods.
Yes, that was
You did
fun.
that.
Well, what's crazy is it was a courtroom.
Yes,
And
it's a courtroom
you
scene.
just sit wherever. They're like, all right, just go find a seat.
Yeah, but you happen to
And
be
so
in the right seat.
I was like literally right behind the person who played the lawyer and the table with the defendant, and I was on screen for a long time.
Yeah, the whole scene. It was
great.
cool. Isn't it cool? It's
It
so
was very cool.
And then 2008, you actually did a Fred Carpenter film, which I've worked with him as well, called Just Like Joe.
Right. Well, that was my son was one of the leads in that movie.
Right.
And I happened to be on set with him because he was 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was on set, and they said, "Oh, we need a mother to be in the principal's office. Can you act?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So like, all right, here, read this, and then go in. And so I said, "Okay," and I went in, and so I'm in.
That's
one
cool.
of the scenes.
Yeah, Fred Carpenter's great.
Yeah.
I did a movie with him called Interview with a Hitman, and I played a prostitute.
Nice.
Yeah.
My
And
husband
it's
did a
funny, I
couple
just
of
played
movies.
another one this past Friday.
There you go. You
Okay.
typecast.
I don't know. In 2009, you did Turf, and I think we have a.
I was just
There you go, Turf.
It's
That was
really, again, my husband's
90th
movie.
Street
I
production.
happen to be there, but that's my husband's.
That's Joe Zito.
Yes, my husband's cousin Joe Zito, who does a lot of shorts.
Right.
He just did one recently, Surfs Up, which is really funny. And you know, you could look him up online. He has great shorts. I was just literally standing online at like a bagel store. That's it, with my kids. But my husband John plays one of the major parts in
That's
that movie.
cool. That's so cool.
So you happen to be at the right place at the right time.
You know, it's all about timing.
Right, there
It
you
is.
go.
Life's all about timing. You also, 2022, you did Shelby McGraw, Channel 24, Action News, and you played Mrs. Henderson.
Yeah, that was a little wild. So I didn't know what I was getting
There
into
it
until I
is.
got
Yeah,
there. But
cool.
so the director that somebody you're going to hear about later asked me to be in this,
Okay.
and so I did.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of student filmmakers at the time, I believe they were either just out of college or
Right.
and just were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you come and be this part?" I'm like, "Sure." whatever you need me to do.
Now, you know that live theater, obviously stand-up, is very, very different from television and movies and film. You know,
Definitely.
with television, movies, and film, it's a lot of waiting around, you know.
yes.
Setting up a
Hurry up
scene,
and wait.
getting it ready, right. But how exhilarating is that gratification when the audience laughs their behinds off, you
It
know,
is
and they
great.
get it, you know what I mean?
It's fantastic. There's nothing better.
It's a different animal.
Yeah, it is. But it's hard because it's just you. So when I just did Pippin over the summers, I was the grandma. But you have lines, you have things to memorize, you could practice. And when you get up on stage, yes, you have your jokes and you know them and you practice them as well.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different feeling when you're on stage by yourself.
Right.
And, you know, there's nobody else there to support you, give you a line, throw you, you know, something, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just you. It's funny, this Friday I performed and they had a stool on stage. So people put their
Drinks
phone
or
or
their-
a drink, a
right,
glass of
right,
water or
right,
something. One of the
yeah.
comedians had
Yeah.
some cues.
They use it as a prop.
You know,
Yeah.
and I go up and there's no stool. I go, literally, the guy before me had, like, where's the stool?
They took it away?
Somebody just picked it up and walked off with it.
Wow.
I stopped there and I go, where am I putting my drink? Where am I putting my phone? Because
no.
my phone times, you know.
Yeah.
times me. I mean, I have my watch and that also
Right.
times
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
it was crazy. I have no idea. Some, you know,
Wow.
ghost came and took the stool.
Well, you know, we showed your mom before on stage, and you did a lot of shows with the James Street
Players, yes.
You did Fiddler.
Yeah, my husband and I were Tevye and Golda in Fiddler.
That's so cool.
And it was our 20th or 25th anniversary. 25th because it's 35 and it's 2014 was when we did it.
Yeah. 2014, you did that. You also did Join the Circus.
Oh, Barnum.
Barnum.
I
call it Join the Circus. Barnum. And that, my friend Martin, hello.
Yes.
Played the lead.
We didn't even know that we knew the same person
No, it's
until you looked things
it's
up.
crazy.
Martin Knapp.
Yeah, Martin. Shout out to Martin. I saw him. He came to the Lindenhurst It's Love Bro. That's where I bumped into him. I'm like,
Great.
yeah, I haven't seen him in forever. But he was the original Billy Martin in Bat Boy, A Yankee Miracle.
Wow.
And I love working with him. He's so talented.
Yes.
Really talented man. He's been doing this forever.
And yeah.
Also. And he directs and he
Acts,
amazing.
and
Just
we just saw him in
amazing.
something recently.
Did you
yes.
really?
Theater.
Oh,
We
yeah.
still go to see our friends, and they come to see us, and
that's
we all support
nice.
each other.
It's so important to do that. It really, really is. And we're going to take my next break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what you have going on as far as producing and supporting Claudia. So don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Hi, I'm Georgia Rose, founder of Zenkuda. You can watch me on the Soul Space podcast every Friday at noon on Channel 20 for spiritual guidance. And as you all know, that is how I first opened into my own psychic gifts, was through the angelic realm, astrology. So we've got Mars and the Sun together in Scorpio, which creates a lot of combustion. In the astrological world, we call that a kazemi, and tarot. With the Four of Cups right side up, it means we have a lot of choices to make, and we're not looking at what's really being divinely given to us. We're too busy in the busyness of the choices to really see the divine intervention, the divine timing, and the divine guidance. We're the place. Watch the Soul Space podcast.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Theresa Canastraci Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Theresa on Facebook. Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tea Time. I'm with Claudia Bonavita. She's an actor. She's a comedian. She's a producer. You mentioned before how you were retired.
Yes.
But you're not really retired.
No.
Are you?
No.
So
well,
explain that to me. You're
so
working, you're not working, what are you doing?
So I worked full-time as a special ed teacher for Eastern Suffolk BOCES for 32 years.
Thank you.
And during that time, I started a school for kids with autism with a colleague, Vito Selecchia, and my other colleague, Norma Drossman. And the three of us, all wrote a grant and started a whole school. And so then I worked in that, and then I was an autism consultant all over Long Island, and worked with kids of all ages from kindergarten to 21, and in school districts and BOCES, and I just traveled all day.
But you're working.
So I retired from BOCES,
but you're working because
for 20 years
didn't you tell me like you're grading papers or something like recently?
Yes. So for 20 years I've been an adjunct professor at St. Joseph's University.
Okay.
And so this is my 20th year.
So you're still technically.
But I only do that 1 or 2 days a week depending on the semester.
Okay.
I teach 1 or 2 classes.
In person?
In person, yes.
Okay.
And online. I just finished an online course in January.
Well, talking about online, there was a special comedy early in the morning that you had to go virtually on. Let's talk about that.
So I
I
get all choked up.
Yeah, because
verklempt.
Rob, we both knew Rob, and
Rob
he was
Chiaffi, who passed away. So I was
guy.
part of Joke Zoom. We now have Joke Zoom 2.0, and all of the members, which are around the world, are continuing in. He passed away. Suddenly and unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And so we're continuing, and so we at every Monday and Thursday at 6 o'clock in the morning.
It's too freaking
5:30, my alarm goes off.
Oh
now
my
we were
God.
away last week, my husband and I, and we were away
You went to
Monday
PA,
and
right?
Thursday.
Yeah, you went
yes,
to PA.
both, and New York City.
You got up early and did it?
I did it from the hotel room. The alarm went off at 5:50.
Wow.
And I woke up and I sat in the hotel room and I did Joke Zoom, both places. Because there are people in Toronto, people in New Zealand, people in Cyprus, people in
they're all
Germany,
over the world.
people in Nairobi, all over the world.
It's
And
amazing.
we're there from 6 to 7. We have a moderator. Those days, I'm the moderator. I set a timer.
Right.
And then everybody gets 7 minutes, and you work on your material.
Okay,
And
so you do
give
the 7 minutes, and then they kind of like
you come with
give
a
you-
joke idea.
and then they give
Sometimes
you- and then
a
they
premise, and
Right.
people you may have an idea for a joke and your punchline isn't that strong.
It's a little weak.
And one of the other comedians will be like, "Oh my God, I got a great idea," and they give you an idea to make it even better.
So you get feedback.
Yeah. So twice a week I'm writing, so I have so much material.
I'm sure. It's so early though. It's
It
just
is.
Maybe because I had Helene Witt on, and she's like, "You should come on," and I'm like, "I'm in my third dream."
Helene,
I'm like,
yeah, she's.
Helene. I always say her
I know.
name wrong. and
Well,
that's
it's funny. I
terrible.
have a friend Helene
It's
and a
Helene.
friend
Helene. Sorry,
well,
Miss Witt. She's Miss Witt,
I know.
and I had her on the show, and she's a firecracker.
She's a ball of fire.
She
She's
is a
great.
firecracker.
Shout out to Helene.
She hung out with the Beatles. I mean,
I know.
we
She has
had
pictures with all the Beatles. And,
incredible, just incredible, incredible person. But I'm like, it's just.
But I've met some of the greatest people in comedy.
Oh, I'm
doing
sure.
comedy.
I'm sure.
So.
Yeah. And now, because people are from all over the world and all over the country, how is the language barrier as far
Well, they all
as
speak English.
right?
And there are differences, and they'll tell us.
Okay.
So we have a girl who was in Japan, living in Japan, and she was online, and she would explain things, and then you'd be like, okay, I get it.
Right.
Now
right.
she's living in New York. She's in Queens.
Wow.
And Clara. Hi, Clara. And she is still doing comedy, and she acts, and she has a podcast, and she's doing great work. But she did a joke this morning, and I had to tell her what the phrase was in English because she was saying, what do you do? I said, no, it's what do you do for a living? That's how we would say it here.
Right.
You wouldn't say what do you do? You
Right.
would say what do you do for a living?
Right.
And so we'll help her, and then she also explains.
That's good.
To
yeah.
us.
Yeah, because I think sometimes something can get lost in translation, like you
Yes.
said. And I understand they have accents. Sometimes it's hard to understand people, but you want to try to follow
The train of
the
thought.
joke and where it's going.
Correct.
And then how, and then the punchline and how it's supposed to end.
Yes.
So yeah, that's not, it's nice. But it's early.
It is. It is.
Let's talk about John LaRocchia.
Yes.
And Laughter Saves Lives. He's got a great nonprofit that he does. I've done his shows. You've done his shows. How much fun are they?
They're great. Friday night we did Marty Lyons Foundation, and we did a show for their foundation, and that was fantastic. It was a great audience. We performed in Connecticut with John LaRocchia. We have a funny story. We get there. It was a 5.5-hour drive.
What?
It was crazy. It was something happened on the road, and it's
this
not
was,
usual.
This was Connecticut?
Yeah.
Like I know
I've
Connecticut's
gone to
not,
Connecticut in an hour and a half.
Yeah,
It's
Connecticut's not
nothing.
around the corner, but I didn't think it was.
This was just silliness. Something must have happened or
Right,
whatever.
right.
But we finally get there. And actually, Rich was there too. And I'm sitting outside, and there's a woman, and she goes, "Oh, you one of the comedians?" "Yes." "Oh, are you staying overnight?" I said, "No, we're gonna, head home." And she goes, "Well, we have 4 hotel rooms one for each of you." We're like,
Oh.
Well, nobody told us that.
Wow.
So she was like, "Yeah, just go home in the morning." We're like, "Oh, heck yes, that sounds like a plan."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Good old John. He's great.
Yeah, I love his work. So shout out to John, and then let's just talk briefly before we get into your doc. Claudia throws a kick-ass barbecue party every year it's mostly female comics and friends. So it's an all-girl extravaganza.
Yeah, it's all women.
And we have a lot of fun. John usually stays inside the house.
Yes, the whole time.
Which he doesn't need to do, but he does. And I usually make my famous artichoke pie, and I made one this year, and it went so fast. So Claudia's like,
last year she made one,
Yeah.
and this year we made her make 2.
Claudia's like, you got to
make 2.
Yeah, you got to make 2. One's just not enough. And I'm really glad everyone loves it. But
Yeah.
it's such a nice thing that you do. It's just lovely that we all get together and just hang out and catch up and, like you said, support each other. It's all
Yes.
about, supporting each other,
And it's funny because people will say, shout out to Kristen Tinsley, who said to me, "Are we doing it this year?" I said, "Yeah, you make the calls." And then people are texting me,
make the
"Why
calls."
is Kristen inviting me to your house?" I'm like, "Fine, it's okay, just come to my house."
No, it was funny because she's like, "Did Claudia reach out to you?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "No." She's like, "I am."
Because I was doing Pippin, it was too crazy,
I'm like,
and I was
"That's
like,
fine."
"You just invite everybody."
Yeah, I'll send
And
this
we'll
to her.
just-
I'll
yeah.
send this to her. We like to send the show to everyone we mention.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's just a nice thing that you do, and you have a beautiful backyard, and you inspired me to decorate my backyard.
Right, and then we start trading pictures.
Yeah, and it was great. But I want to talk to you about your baby, because you have a baby, a documentary.
Yes.
And Carmine's going to put it up. It's called By Day, By Night. You actually wrote it. You produced it.
Yes.
It is completed. It's called By Day, By Night, Working to Make People Laugh. Thank you so much for that. And I want you to, we're going to put up the website real quick. There's also a website. There it is, bydaybynight.com. And you can go there and find out all about it. But in the meantime, thank you. Tell me how this came to be.
So it came to be because I thought of an idea and a concept, and I was so excited. I was saying Vito Selecchia was my coworker that I worked with 100 years. His son went to film school and went to Five Towns College, and he's the director. And I called him and I said, I have an idea for a movie, and I'm on Sunrise Highway. And I'm like, all right, I want to do this, and he's like, Claudia, relax. One idea, one theme, and then you call me back.
Okay, because you were so excited.
I was
so excited
but
about it.
But it's funny, So I finally called him back and I said, all right, I think I got it. I got the idea. And I tell him the idea, and he said, okay, sounds like a good thing. Write a treatment. So I said, sure, no problem.
But what did you tell him the idea was?
Well, I'm going to get to that because I want to unveil.
Okay.
But so I have no idea. What's a treatment for a documentary? I have no idea.
So you Googled it.
I Googled it. I also went online and I took master classes on documentary and filmmaking and this and that. And then I found some PowerPoint, like online course on writing a treatment. And I was like, oh my God, who posted this?
It almost sounds like being a doctor.
It's
you know what
crazy.
I mean? It's like,
I went online and I wrote the treatment. I had it bound and I said to him, I'll meet you at Panera. And John Selecchia, I sat there and I showed it to him. He read through it and he said, I'm in. I said, cool. I go, do you have, people who can, I got cameramen, I have people, don't worry about it.
So he had a crew.
Yes, he had a
place. So that was one less thing you had to worry about.
And so the movie is By Day, By Night, Working to Make People Laugh. It's people who have unusual jobs or daytime experiences and at night do stand-up. And that's the whole premise.
Wow.
And,
well, before you
Sure.
read that, we're going to take my last break. And when we come back,
I'll tell you who's in the film.
Claudia's going to tell you who's in the film and why they're in the film.
Yes.
We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Hey everybody, it's Theresa from Tea Time. What's my show about? I interview people in the entertainment industry, producers, directors, actors, and guess what? My show is on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Channel 20 on Optimum TV. So tune in because it's fun, interesting, and exciting.
Who's the best comedian you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Theresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Theresa Farrow.
Stop. Who's your favorite Jimmy?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. That's my friend Doc Gooden. I'm hoping to have him back on the show. Had him on before virtually, and I'm hoping to get his tuchus in that seat in person. So Claudia Bonavita, actor, writer, producer, and musician. And she has this baby that she wrote and produced By Day, By Night, working to make people laugh. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So you get everything together. You need to get together. You got a crew. You got everything.
Yes.
Now you need the people.
Yes. It took 2 years to film. I should state that.
Well, that's
Took
important.
2 years.
You know, things don't
Not
happen
just
overnight.
to film, but
From
my
concept
editor
to-
and yes, Sean O'Brien. Shout out to Sean because he worked his butt off doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And it took a long time. The voice of everything.
So how many comics did you choose?
5.
5 comics, and how did you choose them?
Based on what they did by day that I thought was interesting, and then I actually spoke to other people outside of the business and said, if I made this movie and these were the people, would you find this interesting? And everybody was like, oh, wow, yeah, no, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So that's how we went.
Go ahead. So who's in it?
The first person is, well, first of all, I did say John Selecki is the director.
Yes.
And he took total command of the set. He had such great ideas, and he's from Five Towns College.
Cool.
He he filmed a movie, Taquitos, and he had that in film festivals.
Yeah.
So he's our director. Ruth Ann Burney, we call her Bernie Collins, very, very dear friend, close friend. She is a minister and a missioner.
Wow.
So she was a missioner for the Domestic and Foreign Missionary Society that's based out of New York City.
Yeah.
She traveled the world, and she had photos of herself in countries all over the world being a missioner.
Wow.
She is still a minister, and she actually she's a recipient of the George H.W. Bush 1,000 Points of Lights Award.
Wow.
And
That's not too shabby.
And she took Stand Up You with Rich Walker and Peter Bales.
She did.
When I took it, and that's how I met her.
So she was in your class.
She was in my class, and she had to leave the missioner work.
Right.
Missioner work. There's a
Okay.
difference, missionary and missioner.
Right, yeah.
One is religious and one is
Right,
different.
yeah.
And so she had to leave it because she came down with Parkinson's and ankylosis, spondylosis, or spondylosis, ankylosis, and then fibromyalgia, and she became ill.
Right.
And she spent a lot of time in bed, and she started to think, what do I want to do? She doesn't have a bucket list. She has a live life list.
I love that.
And one was to be a stand-up comedian.
Live life list.
Yes. Our second comedian, Donna Moran, who I work with.
Donna Moran.
Yes.
She's going to do my show.
Awesome.
Before she leaves New York.
Before she leaves, she's moving.
Donna's moving. I'm very upset.
I was just going to say,
we're
I'm
very
gonna be
upset.
heartbroken
We're going to
lose
have to have
her.
like a going away party.
We are
for her.
definitely.
We're definitely doing something for you, Donna.
But she works
Love
as a
her.
caseworker for Adult Protective Services. So we've heard of Child Protective Services.
Yes.
There's an Adult Protective
because there are
Services for
people-
the elderly
yeah, no, you
who
need
are
that.
abused
So
or
sad.
financially taken advantage
Yes.
of or what have you. So she's a caseworker. So it's a very stressful job during the day.
Yeah.
And at
And
night,
then she blows off
she
steam by
does
telling jokes at night.
stand-up comedy. And she's a joke zoomer. So she's on at 6 o'clock in the morning.
God bless.
This. Ellen Orchid is our third cast member in our
Yes.
movie, and she's a psychiatrist. She has not only an MD, but a PhD in neuroscience.
Wow.
And she did a residency at Bellevue and NYU. So she's a psychiatrist by day,
Right.
and at night, she's
Trying
a
to make
stand-up
people
comedian.
laugh. Wow, I'm sure she's
And-
got a lot of material.
Well, yeah, she's also an actress. So she was in The Sopranos. She actually was the psychiatrist in The Sopranos.
Really?
That, with Uncle Junior when they were trying to say he was crazy.
Oh, yes.
And she was on The View, Funniest Doctors
There
on
you
The View.
go.
So she competed there as well.
Yeah.
So, and she does stand up at night. Lou Pratt, who works in Nassau County District Court on Long Island. He supervises the courtroom clerks. He was able to get us into the courtroom to take video when no one was there on
Okay.
the weekend and
In
of the
his- in
cells
his-
in his
like in
courtroom.
his
So when he was
environment.
speaking, yes, about his job, and he tells a very funny story that's in the movie, and John Selecki, our director, actually animated the story.
Oh, that's cool.
And so does Ellen. Ellen tells this hilarious story,
Yeah.
and they're animated. So we have a little, it's a little comedy within the movie as well.
So how long is the movie?
The movie is an hour and 28 minutes. Why do I know that? Because we were submitting it to film festivals, and we had to know all this information
right.
today, actually. So
That's
it's an hour and 20.
great.
It's a full feature.
Hour 28.
And let me tell you about Lou Pratt. He's the nephew of Red Buttons.
Really?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Red Buttons is his uncle, was his uncle.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
so that's interesting as well.
It is.
You get to hear all about not only his work, but his experience as
Well, I'm
a
excited
comedian.
to see this.
Yes.
So when and where can people see this?
Last person, Mitch Shapiro, because I
Oh,
know
I'm
he's
sorry.
watching.
Number 5.
Mitch Shapiro is deaf and blind. He has Usher syndrome, and that's how he became deaf and blind. He has 2 cochlear implants. He's a public speaker, and he's the founder of Help America Hear. Great foundation that works to get hearing aids for people who can't afford them.
Wow.
And that's what he does by day.
Amazing.
And at night, he did some stand-up comedy, and he does stand-up comedy in our movie.
That's fantastic.
And so you can see the movie. We have our premiere February 7th at Sayville Theater. Tickets will be on sale sometime this week. You have to just keep going to the website, Sayville Theater, and the tickets will be on sale.
Yeah.
It's a red carpet event. We have our banner and our red carpet.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And we're going to be there at 6 o'clock. It starts at 7.
Yeah.
And you can take pictures. We're also doing it February 13th on my birthday. At St. Joseph's University in the auditorium.
Wow.
And we have it advertised throughout the campus. I've been advertising on campus. I also sent out to all of the professors that teach film, communications. We have a music class that mentions music in movies. And I'm like, that's good because we have an original score by Joseph DeGaetano.
Yes.
And so, you can come and see our movie and hear his score. And then we have a Q&A panel at that one. So at the college, after the movie, we'll have the cast and the crew on stage, and people can ask questions.
Well, when you do it at the Sayville, you could probably do Q&A after that as well.
And then also we're doing it at Plaza Cinema Arts on March 11th. They're all at 7 o'clock because I'm old and I don't want to stay up too late. So I could be in bed by 9:30.
You're so freaking funny.
That's what I'm doing.
And you will be showing it as well at the Cinema on the Sound.
Sound in City Island in April. I just don't have a date confirmed
yet. We don't have a date, but Jerry Landy's going to put that there as well, and I'm excited about that. So I'm just excited that people have these options to come see it at different places because...
And they're all different days. It's a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday. So if you can't make Monday, you come Tuesday. You can't make Tuesday, you can make Wednesday. So Rich Walker, you can't make Tuesday, you can't make Wednesday, but you can make Monday. March 11th is a Monday.
You got that? I'll be here doing my show, but I can make the other dates.
That's right.
I'm hoping to make the 7th, and that's the 7th is a what?
Wednesday.
A Wednesday. I'm putting that on my calendar. No, because I can't wait. I really can't wait to see it. It's great. But yeah, you got to get it.
And you can go to YouTube. You could put in By Day by Night, working to make people laugh, and see
the
the trailer.
Yeah, there's the trailer. Do we?
Yes.
I think we have the trailer. If we have the trailer,
If we have enough time
maybe you can pull it up and we can play that before we go because we do have some time. All right. Well, you can work on that. In the meantime, because I think we did have the trailer somewhere. But all right, well, when we have it, let me know. But I'm very, very excited about this. But I know you always have something in your back pocket.
I already have 2 ideas for my next documentaries.
I know you can't.
I haven't
get
shared
into,
with anyone,
you can't get
and
into,
I won't.
I know you can't get into specifics. I get it. I totally get it. But it's exciting that you have 2 more things, in your back pocket because, this got your feet wet and it gave you a foundation of what to expect, what to do, what not to do for the next one.
We really didn't have a what not to do. I have to say, thank God we didn't have any major catastrophes where I said, oh my God, I'll never do that again.
Right. You didn't
It went pretty smooth.
Right, which is good, especially the first time you're doing something.
Yes.
Can you just say if the other 2 are docs or not?
Yeah, they will all be documentaries.
Okay, so the other 2 coming up will be docs.
Yes.
I am so excited to find out what they are. I really, really am. It's exciting. Do you know which one you want to do next? Or?
No, I have 2 ideas, and I have to really play around with
Okay, you have to see which one.
Yes. Well, not only did I write a treatment, but I actually broke the movie down.
Right.
So, Act 1 is this, Act 2 will be that, Act 3 will be this. These will be the locations. I had to really
woman, you really
figure it all out.
got
and
it
then
together.
John and helped me as well, John
Wow.
Selecchia, and my husband John, and that's how we figured out the whole movie.
Do we have that trailer? No. We don't.
Well, you go on YouTube and
All right,
you put in By Day by Night, working to make people laugh. You have to put the whole the whole title in.
Okay, so
to find it.
please do that on YouTube and check it out. In the meantime, just repeat the dates again.
Okay, February 7th, 7 o'clock at Sayville Theater, and that's when the movie starts, but it is our premiere. So if you
So
get
you're
there
gonna
at
do-
6,
yeah, the
we're
red
going to do the
carpet.
red carpet.
Yeah.
We literally have a red carpet.
6
we have a
p.m.
banner.
Isn't
you know.
it nice?
Oh, I
love
bought
it.
a new dress.
Okay, so
And then
February
February
7th.
13th is at St. Joseph's University in the auditorium, and there's a Q&A afterwards.
Right.
And then
March
on
11th.
March 11th, we're going to be at Plaza Cinema Arts in Patchogue. It's a
Right.
little arts theater.
That's nice.
Yes.
And then sometime in April at Cinema on the Sound.
On the Sound.
In City
in
Island.
City Island.
Yeah. So what do I got left? Like 3 minutes? Hello? What do I got left? I don't have the clock up here. What do I got? 2 minutes? 2 minutes? I got like 2 minutes left. So in 2 minutes, is there anything you want to talk about that I left out that I didn't mention, or?
Oh my goodness, I have no idea other than my husband and his insanity and writing all these, jokes.
I mean,
that-
but what's nice about John is that he really does
he
support.
sits in
he
the audience
supports-
at almost every single show.
He supports
and
everything you do.
I sing this very inappropriate, I will not sing it now, but I sing a very inappropriate song about him. And he sits in the audience and he's like singing along and, it's hilarious.
I love
And
him.
he's
He's
and
great.
he'll sit there and he'll say, "Oh, you didn't do that one right," or do this or do that. And he's sitting right over there, going like, "Ooh, sit up straight, movie show." He's like telling me how to sit.
He is your biggest fan.
He is.
And he is your biggest supporter. And I
Yes.
think that means so much.
Yes.
Especially when you want to, help and.
Well, he directs. So he directs theater and he directs shows. And
Yes.
so he has that eye.
Right.
So he could
Yeah.
say to me,
Yeah.
listen, you didn't,
Yeah.
When I first started, I haven't been doing it, and I'm lacking. I have to get back to it.
Okay.
I would video every single performance of stand-up.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
would go home, and we wouldn't go to bed till we cast it on the TV.
Right.
And watched it over, and he would say to me,
Tweak
that
it.
one didn't go over. That's not a 10. Rich Walker, Peter Bales, what's a 10, what's not a 10?
Yeah.
And he'd say to me, that's not a 10, don't do that one again, or we got to get a stronger punchline for that, and this one. And so he would help me greatly. He
Hey,
still
shout out to
does.
Graz who just tuned in, and Paul.
Shout out to my friend Michelle in
from
Florida
the
and Debbie in
from,
Dallas.
from the Fontanas. Listen, I think we got like another 30 seconds, but again, check out Claudia Bonavita. She is on Facebook. She's on Instagram. Again, go to
My Instagram is Claudia Goodnight Good Life, because my name is Good Life, and when a comedian signs off, they go good night, and I say good night, good life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And again, go to the website, please. If you want to pop that up real quick again, the website, that'll be lovely. There it is, bydaybynightdoc.com. Check it out. And that also will list, thank you, that also will list all the
Yes,
upcoming,
the upcoming events.
events for your, but officially though, the February date, the 7th
is
the
the
official premiere.
Official
the official
premiere.
first viewing
Yes.
of your doc. I'm so excited for you. Claudia Bonavita, thank you for coming in and being
Thank
my
you.
guest. I appreciate it. Listen, thank you everyone for watching Tea Time and supporting me. I really do appreciate it. Remember, tell everyone you love them, and I'll see you next week, everybody. Ciao.